All right, here we go. So we got our chassis here. We're start adding in some motors next. So we are into, let's see, we're getting the quad block in here, getting the motor attached. Again, this is for a V2 version of this robot. If you have a V3 or up, it's going to be slightly different. It'll look mostly the same. We're still going to attach, I think in all instances, we attach a quad block into the motor. The difference really is like what goes on the end of the motor. In this case, we are using a bevel gear, but it's a slightly different sized bevel gear than you might find in a V3 or up, just for those of you who have that. So let's take a look in here. Okay, one thing I do want to do to get this is I really want to, it can be hard to try and track down these motors, so it's really helpful to just take the SKU and just search for that. So if we go into here, we go into Go Builda, we go into, I think I do motion, but I'm also just going to do this. Search, and we can get this part in here. Interesting. Normally you pull up 4. There we go. We have a couple different ones. I don't know if these really make a difference in terms of kind of like what they're going to do. I'm going to pull in the sub-assembly version that look like this. I think they're all kind of assemblies. I'm not sure if there's any real difference between these, but let's bring that in there, and we should have this part. Okay, now next up, we're going to need a few of these. Let's do insert. We'll do robotics, Go Builda. We're going to do quad block. And then we can, oh, you know what? Again, there's so many quad blocks. I could try and search through them, but like maybe it's just too annoying for me. So let's try and put those in there. And we just grab this thing exactly. We'll grab that. That should be good. We're going to pull it apart. Pull that in. Okay, great. Now we're going to start assembling some pieces. As I discussed in previous videos, we're not going to worry too much about screws. I think there is an instance where we might want to, there are times when you might want to worry about screws if things are really precise. There is a chance that the head of these screws might run into something, but we just know it's not going to be an issue here. Oh, also, let's get that bevel gear in here while we're at it. Bevel gear is going to be a little bit trickier to work with. We'll have to like kind of fasten it in steps because it's going to come in actually 2 separate, or maybe even 3 separate parts if you count the screw. But we'll get to that in just a second. Let's go into Home, Go Builda. Well, I don't know, this should work. Let's see. Home. Interesting. I had no results on that. No results on that SKU. But then when I look in here, like, ooh, I think this is same old, 1006, so they must not have had this version here or something. I don't know. All right, this looks like these all look like the right thing though, so maybe it's just newer version or something. Let's pull this part in here. All right, great. Now we are good to start assembling. No, restore. All right, so let's go through and we're going to add in, let's get this quad block attached first, and then we'll work on doing everything else. So again, we're going to rotate around here. Let's do the fasten. We're going to zoom in. I'm going to select the interior geometry of that thing. And then I'm going to go over to here and just select the interior. Hopefully we can get these 2 parts matched up. How are we doing on that? All right, close. There we got that rotate. I should really be able to look in and see, yeah, see those throughs. See that thread through the gaps in here looks really clean. All right, so we'll hit paste on that, and we have that assembled. Next up, we have this part. Oh, that's not. All right, let's see. Sometimes this thing comes in like multiple parts. We'll see. Maybe these are all, because this is an assembly, I wonder if it's not already like, if there's not mates already on this. I don't think so. It looks like it all came as one part. Okay, that's not always the case. And sometimes like these parts slide separately from each other. Like I've seen instances where this thing is like its own piece. Just this part is like its own thing. They really fully modeled it. It looks like that doesn't appear to be the case in this, I don't think. No, it looks like this is all one part. Okay, that's fine. That makes it easier. All right, so let's go into here. We are going to mate, and I'm going to grab this line here, and I'm going to mate that to this line here. Okay, it doesn't look good right now. Let's try and rotate it a little bit till we get it just in place. Did I go past? Okay. That's looking pretty good. Now we can add one little feature here. This actually looks pretty good, but there might be a case where I feel like that needs to be shifted up a little bit. We can actually go into offset, and then we can adjust these X, Y, and Z positions. So we can actually adjust this offset and say like 0.1. And that's going to shift it down a little bit. So maybe if I do like negative I want to, maybe if I feel like I should be closer to the tip of this thing, I could change this to like negative 0.2 or something. All right, that's fine. Really not needed, but I can do that. Okay, so now we have this full motor assembly, motor sub-assembly, I should say. Let's hit escape on here, and I think like now it's time. This should probably be its own assembly. So I'm going to once again go over to here. We are going to create an empty sub-assembly. That's not right. Let's see, we have that in there. Interesting. All right, so in here, it looked like I had a little sub-assembly. I wasn't able to create one. I didn't see the ability to just create an assembly. Oh no, move to new sub-assembly. Okay, I didn't see that there before. Maybe I just missed it. We're gonna move this to a new sub-assembly, and we are gonna make this, again, we're gonna name this, which I guess we'll just call it motor because I know it's gonna copy this as I make more. Let's zoom out. Let's grab this thing. We're gonna do Control C, V, 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 and we have our motors. I think I'm just gonna stop it there. Not gonna be, just to break these videos up a little bit, but should be pretty quick to move into. All right, I'm just gonna finish this up and do this before I move on to the next video. So I'm gonna grab this thing. Actually, I wanna make, I've made a couple of these motors before. It's actually, I ended up seeing like I was copying just individual pieces rather than the full assembly. So actually I want to make sure that I'm copying the actual assembly, not just the parts. Seems like it was a little bit different. When I selected this differently, it seemed like it did not grab all the parts the way that or grabbed all like the individual pieces rather than like making a copy of the full assembly. So that wasn't exactly what I wanted. All right, let's see in here. All right, so I'm gonna choose, actually, I think, let me grab this piece right up here. I'm gonna grab the top of this. All right, so now this should be, again, it'd probably be helpful if I move this to visualize. I did this video before and I got these things wrong repeatedly, so let me see if I can get it correctly this time. If not, I really should be moving these motors more into place before I get them assembled. But having said that, I think I got it right this time. What do we think? Let's take a look here. Motor looks like it's placed well. Great. All right, so we're going to go into here. We're going to do I think at this point I'm going to pause the video and just move forward to the rest of them. Yeah, because I think it's going to be pretty similar. All right, great. Got everything assembled in here. We have these 4 motors now attached. Let's see. Let's do the last part. I don't know if we should do like a motor. I'm going to leave those there for now. I might change my mind about making these into sub-assemblies, but I'll leave them like